You won't need to buy that expensive bottle of laundry detergent anymore after you watch this video. What I'm about to show you is the exact $6 recipe Appalachian grannies use to wash clothes, bed sheets, and everything else for pennies a load. That jug of Tide on your laundry room shelf cost you $25. Pour it down the drain right now, and you'll watch about $23 of plain tap water go with it. The actual soap in that bottle, the part that does anything, is less than 3%. The rest is water, blue dye, and a perfume designed to train your nose to need it. And my Appalachian grandma, Mawmaw Pearl, never bought a drop of laundry detergent in her life across 112 years. She made her own wash soap from 3 simple things you can buy at any grocery store. Today, I'm going to give you the exact recipe and show you how to make it in about 20 minutes. And I'll tell you the one trick Mawmaw Pearl used that makes this recipe work right in hard water. Getting clothes actually clean is not complicated. It needs 3 things. Something to break the grip of grease and body oil so the dirt can lift off the cloth. Something to handle the minerals in your water so the soap can do its work. And something alkaline to help lift the dirt out of the fibers. All 3 sit on a low shelf at the store. They are cheap and they have been cleaning clothes since long before there was a plastic jug to put anything in. Write these 3 things down. The first is washing soda, not baking soda. They are cousins, but they are not the same thing. Washing soda is sodium carbonate. The yellow box, Arm & Hammer Super Washing Soda sits on the laundry aisle for about $5, and 1 box lasts a long time. This is the workhorse. When it hits the water, it makes the water alkaline, and that is what loosens the grease and oils and dirt and lets them lift up out of the cloth. Pearl called it the lift. Her mother made washing soda from scratch by burning hardwood and leaching the ash through a wooden hopper. Pearl bought hers at the feed store in Grundy. Same compound, easier hands. The second is borax, 20 Mule Team borax, the white box that costs about $4. It is a mineral mined out of dry lake beds out west, and it has been used for laundry in this country since before the Civil War. Borax is your water softener. Most of America has hard water. The minerals in it grab onto the soap and form a kind of scum, and instead of washing the dirt away, the wash water rubs it back into the cloth. Borax handles those minerals so the soap can do its job. Pearl called borax the softener. The third is a plain bar of soap. The simpler the better. Fell's Naphtha, Kirk's Castile, any plain unscented bar about $2. You grate it on a kitchen grater like a block of cheese. This is your actual soap, the part that grabs the grease and lets the water carry it away. 1 bar replaces an entire jug of Tide. Mountain women made their own bar soap from rendered hog fat and lye in a black iron kettle out behind the cabin every November after hog harvest. Pearl made hers that way until the year she died. That is the purest version of this recipe, and I'm going to show you how to make it in the next video, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. For today, a plain bar from any grocery store works the same. That is the whole list. Washing soda, borax, a plain bar of soap. Buy all 3 and you have spent maybe $12, with most of each box left over for the next batch. 1 actual batch works out to around $6, and 1 batch washes 300 loads. Everything I'm about to show you is from my grandmother. Decades of Appalachian knowledge for taking care of your land, your home, and your family without depending on anyone. I've put it all together for you into 1 blueprint. Scan the QR code on your screen to get your copy, and let me know in the comments once you get it. A word about safety. Washing soda and borax are both alkaline. They will dry out your skin if you handle them bare-handed for long, and they sting if you rub your eye with them on your fingers. Wear gloves when you mix, and for those with little ones and animals in the house, borax is not to be eaten. It is harmful to swallow, especially for a child or a pet. Keep both boxes up high, closed and out of reach. Used right, gloves on, kept away from the children, rinsed out of the wash, it is safe. It has been used in homes for over 100 years, but you treat it with respect. The method takes 20 minutes of real work and then you walk away. Grate your bar of soap fine on a kitchen grater, about 1 cup. Put that in a saucepan with about 6 cups of hot water on low heat. Stir slow until every flake melts and the water goes smooth like thin milk. Do not let it boil. Just melted soap, that takes about 10 minutes. While the soap is melting, fill a 5-gallon bucket from any hardware store about halfway with the hottest tap water you can draw. When the soap is fully melted, Pour it into the bucket. Add 1 cup of washing soda. Add 1 cup of borax. Stir slow with a long wooden spoon for a couple of minutes. You will feel it start to thicken. Then top the bucket off with water. Cold from the tap is fine. Put the lid on and leave it overnight. By morning, the whole bucket will have set up into a soft, thick gel, like a loose pudding. That gel is your laundry soap. To use it, stir it up. It will separate as it sits, and that is normal. Use about a ½ cup per load, scooped right into the machine. Less if you have a high-efficiency front loader. For a busy family doing wash all the time, you make a bucket every couple of months. For a smaller household, a bucket lasts the better part of a year. There is one more step that separates the folks who love this recipe from the folks who try it once and give up. The hard water trick. Most of America has hard water full of minerals. The borax helps, but in really hard water, even with the borax, a soap-based wash can over time leave a little dullness or stiffness in your clothes and towels. A faint buildup of soap and mineral together. This is the #1 reason somebody tries homemade soap once, decides it does not work, and goes back to the jug. The fix costs almost nothing. Apple cider vinegar, about a ½ cup. Pour it into the fabric softener slot of your machine or add it straight to the rinse cycle. The vinegar is a mild acid and it cuts right through that mineral and soap scum and rinses it clean away. It leaves your clothes soft. It is the only fabric softener you ever need. And no, your clothes do not come out smelling like vinegar. The smell rinses out completely as the clothes dry. Plain white distilled vinegar works the same. But mountain families never had white distilled vinegar. They had apple cider vinegar made from the dregs of every fall's cider pressing. Every holler had apple trees. Every family made cider. Every family made vinegar from the last of the cider that turned. Pearl kept a gallon on the porch railing year-round. It went in the chicken's water. It went on her ankle bites. It went in the rinse tub on Monday morning. It went in the dumplings on Sunday. That gallon never ran out either, because she made more every October from the apples that did not get eaten or canned. A ½ cup of apple cider vinegar in the rinse is the difference between this homemade soap working well and this homemade soap not working. Same recipe. The vinegar is the trick. Let me be honest about what this soap does well and what it does not. It handles everyday dirt, sweat, body oils, ordinary grime, the regular soil of regular living. It gets clothes clean and fresh for pennies a load. And because there is no manufactured dye and no manufactured fragrance in it, it is far kinder to sensitive skin. If you have a little one who breaks out in a rash, or somebody in the house whose skin cannot abide the perfume in stored detergent, this plain soap is often a great relief. What it does not handle as well is heavy-set stains, blood, bad baby messes, deep grease. The stored detergents have enzymes built in a laboratory specifically to break those down, and I am not going to pretend this soap does. For a bad stain, treat it directly before it goes in the wash. A dab of the wet bar soap rubbed right on it, or a soak in hot water with a ½ cup of washing soda. Then wash as usual. For the everyday load, the soap alone is plenty. For the hard stains, you spot treat first. A word about the high-efficiency machines. This soap is naturally low sudsing, which those machines like. But use only a tablespoon or 2 per load since they use very little water. Check your manual. And run an empty hot cycle with a cup of plain vinegar once a month to keep any buildup out of the machine. That is the recipe. Now let me tell you why you have never heard of it. In 1949, the University of Tennessee Agricultural Extension Service published Bulletin No. 173. Title: Home Laundering Methods of the Southern Appalachian Region. Author: Dr. Margaret Holloway, Extension Home Economist out of Knoxville. Pages 14 through 19 covered the exact recipe I just gave you, plus the vinegar rinse, plus the bluing trick I am about to show you. Mountain families had been using all of it since at least the 1880s. Tide debuted in test markets in 1946. National distribution in 1949, the same year that Bulletin was published. By 1957, Tide had hit 30% of the national detergent market. That same year, the Extension Service quietly discontinued the Holloway Bulletin. The committee that voted to pull it had Procter & Gamble consulting members sitting on it. By 1962, it was gone from every county extension office in Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. Pearl was 45 years old, 6 children at her ankles, still washing on the back porch with the same 3 ingredients her mother had used. She had never bought a box of Tide, and she never would. You were not supposed to hold that recipe in your hands. The money is not the only thing that Jug is taking from you. There is a chemical called 1,4-dioxane. It is a byproduct of how the surfactants in mainstream detergents are manufactured. The Environmental Protection Agency classifies it as a likely human carcinogen. It is not on the label because it is a manufacturing contaminant rather than an added ingredient. A legal loophole the industry has fought to keep open for 50 years. Tide and most major brands have tested positive for it in independent lab studies. There are the quaternary ammonium compounds. The industry calls them quats. The fabric softener and dryer sheet additives that give clothes that soft feel. Linked in published research to asthma and contact dermatitis. They stay on the fabric after the wash. Your skin sits in them all day. Your toddler chews the corner of the blanket they are embedded in. There is the fragrance. A single ingredient listed as fragrance on a Tide jug can legally contain over 3,000 undisclosed chemicals, phthalates, allergens, hormone disruptors, protected as trade secrets under federal law. The smell that trained your nose to believe the clothes are clean is the same smell sending your daughter to the allergist 3 times a winter. And there are the optical brighteners, synthetic chemicals that bond to fabric and reflect blue light to fake a brighter white. They do not wash out. They sit against your skin for the life of the garment. Pearl did not need an optical brightener. She had a different way of making whites look store-bought white, and it is the last thing I want to show you. If you have a dog or a cat, here is what nobody tells you. Your dog sleeps on the bed you washed in Tide. Your cat grooms herself on the towel you dried with a bounce sheet. They lick those chemicals off their fur every day of their lives. Veterinarians have been quietly logging the connection between household fragrance, chemicals and feline asthma, canine skin conditions, and shorter lifespans in indoor pets since the 1990s. Pearl lived to 112, 6 children raised in a 4-room cabin. Not one of them ever had asthma. Not one ever had eczema. Not one ever got the chronic skin allergies my pediatrician's waiting room is full of now. Was that all the laundry soap? Of course not. It was the well water, the garden food, the wood stove heat, the line-dried sheets, the whole way of living. But what touches your skin for 8 hours a night, what your children's pajamas are saturated in, matters more than almost anything else you put on your body. Pearl was washing her family's clothes in 3 things she could name: a box, and a bar. The last thing I want to tell you is on page 41 of Pearl's composition book. I read it 3 times before I understood it. Pearl wrote it down in her own crooked handwriting in the margin. A few drops in the last rinse, 5 for the everyday, 8 for the church shirts, hung in the sun. I had no idea what she meant until I drove to the feed store in Grundy last fall and asked the woman behind the counter if they still sold something called bluing. She did not even look up. She walked behind the counter and came back with a little brown box. Inside was a glass bottle that looked like it had been made in 1925. Sky blue liquid, a 2-inch label. Mrs. Stewart's concentrated bluing, made in Minneapolis, continuously produced since 1883, 8 ounces, $7. I held it in my hand and I understood. The science is color theory. Whites yellow over time from hard water minerals, soap residue, and body oils. The human eye reads yellowed fabric as dingy. A few drops of bluing in the last rinse tints the water sky blue. The fabric picks up a microscopic blue tint invisible to the naked eye. Blue cancels yellow. The brain reads the result as brighter white. It is not bleach. It does not remove anything. It corrects the color temperature of the fabric, the way a camera filter corrects an image. Pearl's bed sheets in 1955 looked like they came out of a department store window. Her neighbors who bought Tide had bed sheets that looked gray by Christmas. The difference was about 8 cents of bluing per load and 45 seconds at the rinse tub. Mrs. Stewart's bluing predates Tide by 63 years. It predates the electric washing machine. It predates the synthetic detergent industry by a full lifetime. Every Southern grandmother used it. The product never went away. You just stopped being told it existed. I called the Foxfire Center in Mountain City, Georgia. 9 volumes documenting Appalachian folk knowledge since 1966. The word bluing appears 5 times across all 9 volumes, 5 times in 60 years of documentation. That is how thoroughly this everyday Monday morning detail was scrubbed out of the cultural memory. The optical brighteners in your Tide jug are the modern toxic shortcut to the same visual effect Pearl was getting with 8 cents of iron pigment. In a glass bottle, same trick, different chemistry. One sits against your skin for the life of the garment. The other rinses out with the wash water. Everything I have showed you is from my grandmother. Decades of Appalachian knowledge for taking care of your land, your home, and your family without depending on anyone. I've put it all together for you into one blueprint, so remember to get your copy by scanning the QR code on your screen. Let me know in the comments once you get your copy. I was 7 years old the last time I saw Pearl on a wash Monday, spring of 1992. The back porch was wet. The iron pot was steaming. The clothesline ran from the corner of the cabin to the old hickory, and the bed sheets were already up, snapping in the wind off the ridge. She was 80 years old. She had a wooden paddle in one hand and a glass bottle in the other. Mrs. Stewart's bluing, the same bottle her mother had used. Probably the same bottle her grandmother had used before her. She poured a few drops into the rinse tub. The water turned the color of an October sky right before frost. She turned the sheets in it twice. Then she hung them on the line and said, without looking at me, "A clean sheet ain't a smell, honey. A clean sheet is what nothing was left in." I was 7 years old. I did not know what she meant. I am 41 now. I think I finally do. You are not crazy for feeling like something was hidden from you. Something was, for 77 years. Tell me in the comments what state you are in and roughly what you currently spend on laundry detergent. Subscribe before you go. Next week I am taking you out behind the cabin, and we are making the bar soap from scratch in Pearl's iron kettle. So make sure you are subscribed, and click the video appearing on your screen right now for more Appalachian secrets.